Nigeria has just marked its 21 years of democracy, and it was an opportunity for President Muhammadu Buhari to give account of his administration's stewardship. The president says he has recorded notable achievements in the course of implementing its 9 priority objectives and are establishing a solid foundation for future success on the economic front. He says his objectives have remained to stabilize the macroeconomy, achieve agricultural and food security, ensure energy sufficiency in power and petroleum products, develop infrastructure, fight corruption, and improve governance. Well, joining me now to look at some of these critical issues and where we are is the executive chairman and founder of Phillips Consulting Limited and the former chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Mr. Foluso Phillips. Good morning, Mr. Phillips. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Good morning, Chineze. Nice to be here.
Good. You listened to the president on Friday. How do you think that appealed to diaspora?
I think issues on when you listen to what the president delivered, it was more of a scorecard, which was fine because actually one needs to know exactly where he stands and his own perception of what has been done. But because we were dealing specifically about issues on democracy, I thought that he did not deal enough on that. And we're talking about things about equal opportunities that relate to gender, ethnic, region, religious, tolerance, social opportunities, issues about the rule of law, the structure of governance between the national and regional, what's happening at the executive level, the judiciary, what the legislators have been doing in terms of bills that have been passed. Look at the PIB is still outstanding. Issues about the education and health, economy and quality of life. And I think the whole idea for me, for certainly the diaspora listening in and trying to see what's going on, is to what extent can we say in its totality we are achieving the level of democracy in terms of the dividends. It's not enough to just look, as important as it is, at just what we're doing from an economic point of view. But I think we need to take a look about our social, the freedom that people have, the confidence that people have, issues about security. There's so many other quality of life issues that are going on that I feel that could have been addressed. So I think it was more of a scorecard of various performances and individual things for which, yes, we can give credit. Sometimes I wonder whether this is enough. But the fact still remains that at least it's what has been done. I am still waiting for those humongous, monumental, paradigm-shifting, earth-shaking projects that we're going to undertake that are actually going to transform the economy. Don't forget, we continue to have 36 state governments who need to give an account of what they're doing as well. And the states make the country, and the federal government stands there as that overarching umbrella to ensure that policies are in place and there's a unity of purpose in thinking and purpose in which the government itself wants to achieve. That we still want to know. I think, from my understanding, we're like trying to look at agriculture as a major push, and I hope we get to talk about that a bit more. So for me, I think, yes, some specific things about scorecards, you can tick different boxes, but in terms of the totality of a democratic country and democratic dispensation, I don't think enough was discussed about that at all.
Now, you are in the business of human resource strategy and job hiring. Unemployment rate is currently at 23%, going by the last unemployment data, which was in 2018. And of course, it's been projected to go as high as 32% in 2021. Now, education is key to job creation and economic sustainability. Have we got it right in the education system, both in terms of the attention given to the sector and in our curriculum?
I think education is probably one of the most important things that we need to deal with in this country. You know, we've got an abundance of oil and we really fail to beneficiate our oil. We've got an abundance of agricultural products. We really haven't beneficiated agricultural products to the extent that is required. We've got an abundance of people and young people as well. And I think we are not succeeding in beneficiating, if I can use that term, the value of our people. If you look at the history of Nigeria in terms of what it has done and what any country should do is to try and see how we can develop what I call national competencies in areas in which we want to excel. Years and years ago, when we were growing up, it was all about agriculture. And I know that the structure of Nigeria then, the banking system was geared towards agriculture, the transportation system was geared towards that. The research centers, the universities, and so on, they all get towards the fact that we're tending towards being an agricultural, agro-processing type of country. Then along the way, oil came, and yes, we had a little shift in terms of educational or competency development towards oil. And I remember in secondary school those days, people used to get scholarships from Shell and from various other institutions. The NNPC came to life, and we had a lot of brilliant oil engineers that built the refineries and ran the refineries. And then we moved finally, again, gradually into financial services and then into telecoms. And then we moved back into agro-processing. And at this point, I think about it, I think we need to give the likes of Aki Adesina a commendation, because he really twisted and changed the Nigerian mindset to sort of say that, look, agriculture it's a business. It's not a peasant farming, social service type of thing. It's a business. And as a result of that, we find that, again, we are tending, certainly our youth in terms of the entrepreneurial zeal, are turning towards agriculture. Now, to answer the question, the point is where we design our educational system, it must relate to the competence that the country wants to show. And it's not just about primary school, primary, secondary, tertiary, and so on. It's about what is our strategic focus in terms of developing the skills and competencies of this country to deal with that for which we want to be known for. The global value proposition of this country, what should it be, and how can we sustain it? So when you look at these things from that point of view, you see that, yes, we need to really spend a lot of time, money, effort in education. It's the only sustainable strategy we can adopt in this country. We can export our skills, which we've done already and which we're doing very well. We can also enhance the ability and way in which we deal with governance. Even education itself helps our political system when it comes to the whole idea of voting and our annual democracy movement and people being more intelligent and more capable. So my answer is from that broader aspect. I mean, we can go into details about curriculum and things of that nature, but those are things that we know and are expected. But what is the conceptual thoughts and thinking behind it? And I think for us, identify what our true value proposition is, ensure that our competence as a nation, built starting from the young ones, is focused and aligned to that. Then I think we begin to feel a bit more confident in that area.
Right, you talked about skills development. Now, where does technical colleges come in here? What role can they play? I mean, we used to have a lot of technical colleges, around. Just wondering if that still exists.
In fact, I'll say that for technical colleges, they are the ones that are going to make it happen. What do I mean by that? We want to build this country. When I say build, I'm talking about physically building. We are putting up concrete structures, roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, all those things that have to do with physical things that we've got to deal with. And as a result of that, the technical colleges come to play. The vocational skills training, the ability to transform cash investments into structures. And so we cannot avoid that. Today we have a lot of young people that have developed transaction platforms where you can buy things online, you can order online, and we're very up to date and probably ahead of the game as far as this digital trading and digital transactions and payment is concerned. But when you do make the payment, how do you deliver the goods? Somebody's got to make those things. Somebody's got to have a physical response to the financial inquiry I've made to make that purchase. And that's where the technical colleges come in. So we can't ignore them. And not only that, we've got to give them value as well. To go into a vocational trade does not mean you are devaluing yourself. It is probably one of the most important things we have in this country to pursue to ensure that we can deliver on all those physical expectations, because these things just don't magic themselves out. We're investing in railways, we say we want to build bridges, we want to do so many of these things. They've got to be maintained, they've got to be sustained, and we need that technical competence. So those technical colleges, they are so important, and they also need to be upgraded, even at par, if not beyond the kind of things we're doing with our universities right now.
Now, the president in his speech said that as part of the strategy to create jobs and reducing the effect of COVID-19 on our youths, he directed the employment of 774,000 Nigerians, and these youths will be engaged in special public works programs. And each of the 774 local government areas in the country will be allotted 1,000 slots. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about this, and I thought it was a bit novel because it's always nice to have these innovative concepts. Um, it's almost like a scheme whereby you as a government you say that look, I need you, Phillips Consulting, to employ 10 people, and guess what? I would pay for part of it, if not all of it, but I just need those people to keep working. So I think I don't know enough about this scheme, and I think it's new, but I think it's innovative. But for me, anything that can get our people to work. The thing about working with the local governments is the fact that what do the local governments themselves do right now? Are they efficient in the way they work? Is there going to be any work for them? Are they just going to go in there and sit there twiddling their thumbs? We know right across the country, depending on which particular state you're talking about, local governments are not as effective as they should be. They're not doing the things that we expect, and find that the local communities tend to be a bit disappointed with them. So when we add another 1,000 or so for each local government, what are they going to do? Like I said, I don't know enough about it. It sounds interesting, but there's got to be purpose in their actions. There's got to be something for them to do. There's got to be some particular delivery that you're expecting from them, so that we can go back and say, has this thing worked? Has there benefit for it? Or is it just another social scheme that we're putting in place by having these people go in there?
All right, you did mention agriculture, and of course, one of the economic sustainability plan of the government in the fight against COVID-19 is adopting a mass agricultural program for job creation drive. And of course, the president reiterated that fact when he said he's promoting grow what we eat and eat what we grow. How would you assess the federal government's agricultural policies vis-a-vis job creation?
I think it's great that the government is focusing on agriculture. I think it's a brilliant idea. It's our way out, especially because that is the way we're going to lead to industrialization. The ability to grow and process and sell and package and the whole value chain of food production is something that is very, very important. We need to ensure from a food security point of view that we do grow our foods. We do ensure that we can process. And what we must do is, again, step above the peasant farming concept and look at how we can encourage big business to get into farming, to get into agriculture, to ensure that the government, which I give credit to the central bank and the schemes they've got in place, to fund through various schemes people that do want to get into agriculture. It's the way in which we're going to actually leapfrog, if you want to put it that way. And it's a double-edged sword in a positive way, in the sense that it employs people, as we say, but also it reduces the amount of foreign exchange that we need as a country, because we really need to relieve that pressure on foreign exchange. And the way and manner in which we can do this is to ensure that we don't import things that we can really grow ourselves. And we've got to elevate ourselves to the point where we are exporting, and these things can be done. We've got the people, we've got the manpower, we've got the ideas, and what we need to do is to try and see how we can get government to invest and participate increasingly with the private sector. Sometimes some investments are too large for the private sector to deal with, and sometimes too large for the government itself. And we need to find a way where both can partner. There are large organizations like the Como company, the flour mills of this world, and even the Dangotes. But these are just they're large organizations, but we don't have enough of them. And we need them to get into these things to begin to provide the huge investment and the structured process that's required as well. Because these things, because they cost money, there's got to be form and content to it. But yes, it's the only way. And even when we have a lot of people sitting in for offices, civil servants, they're going to come a point in time where we're going to say, look, rather than sit there twiddling your thumbs, go to the farm and let's begin to do it in a very productive, rewarding, and commendable way as well.
All right, you were the former chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. Over the years, several reports have been submitted to government resulting from the summit outcomes. How well were these recommendations taken, and what's the extent of implementation?
Well, I think the Nigeria Economic Summit Group has been set up since 1996, and our flagship program is always the annual summit, which tends to sort of mark what's been happening through the year. And somebody once said that all we've been doing at the summit is talking all these years, and I said, well, I said, thank God we haven't stopped talking, because certainly there's a lot that we have done. We're a private sector think tank and policy advocacy group, and it's a private sector group. And the whole idea is to see how we can influence government to ensure through research and other interventions to encourage government to see how we can have a free market economy. Free market economies do work. The private sector has got to be a major player to encourage private sector investment by having an environment that is comfortable for all kinds of investment, both local and international, creating this enabling environment, which the government is focusing on in terms of ease of doing business. But beyond that, ensure that we can put governance in place to work for the country in the best interest of the country. And obviously, yes, the commitment to the rule of law, which is what makes foreign investors comfortable when they're coming into this place. Over the years, you've had your seeds programs, your needs programs, and all these things you've been involved in. The whole concept of the initial Vision 2010 was through the Nigeria Economic Summit. And we were saying many years ago, we need to have a vision that we can all pursue, a vision that we can create an alignment of the whole country's intention. And through one administration or another, they've either been ignored or not been followed through. I have started presentations made to the Federal Executive Council, when I was chairman, whereby our reports were submitted to them. Depending on which aspect of the report is important to which particular ministry, these things are taken up. You find that we worked with the Ministry of National Planning for many years because we jointly do the summits. And the whole idea is to say, look, how can we, during the summit, bring the government and the private sector together to say, how can we work together? What are the things that we need? Since the role of government is to support the system, we say to ourselves, look, listen to the things we think you need to put in place. Now, recently, and more interestingly, the government has shifted. I mean, the Economic Summit Group, we've shifted more to the National Assembly, to the extent that we have a National Assembly roundtable and working in cooperation with the Nigerian Bar Association. We've looked into how we can develop policies, write up bills and laws that will support the growth of private enterprise in many ways. The investment policies, regulation of businesses, setting disputes, even e-business, and all things of that nature are things that we've got to the National Assembly together with, and we're actually working with them and helping them, conducting research to be able to write the laws that would ensure that these the environment that we require to get this country to get the both sectors going. So there's been quite a busy time for the Economic Summit Group, and we still continue to do things of that nature. The government has listened from time to time.
Yeah, of course, and let's continue to hope that these visions come to reality one of these days. Thank you very much, Mr. Phillips, for your time.
Thank you very much.
Phillips is the executive chairman and founder of Phillips Consulting. And with COVID-19 here, the International Labour Organization says protect children from child labor now more than ever. We'll talk about that after the break.